Hi everyone, welcome back to the Crafty Author. My name is Anissa. I am the Crafty Author, and today I am going to be doing a highly requested tutorial. So, as many of you know, I have some videos up on how to make masks to protect your face and to protect others around you. So the first thing that I want to say in this video is that I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nurse. These are not medical grade masks. These are masks that you are using yourself for your own personal use, for like if you go to a grocery store and whatnot. So there is that disclaimer. Also, if you have questions about masks and that sort of thing, contact your physician. They'll be able to guide you in the right direction. But I am going to show you how I make masks for myself and my family to keep us safe. This is a different method than the first one that I showed you. So I think I have a couple of them. I have one where I showed you how to do it with the elastic that you could put over your ears. I have one that's a no-sew mask in case you don't have a sewing machine or anything. You can make one really quick. And then also I showed you one that has ties that you can tie around your head in case you don't have elastic. So this one, what you will need is 3 pieces of fabric. You're going to need that. And you are going to need elastic for this, okay? So I will put the measurements up. Please listen, okay? Because I'm going to turn off the comments on this video. The instructions, the measurements for the elastic and for the fabric will be on my website at craftyauthor.com. That's craftyauthor.com. So that's where you will find that information, okay? So the first thing that I want to tell you is that when I'm making a pattern for the masks, I use cardstock. Then I cut it out using the measurements. I draw it out on the cardstock and then I cut it. And then I'm able to lay it down on the fabric and I'm able to make lots and lots of masks that way, okay? So the one that we're going to make today looks like this. This part goes, I will show you how it goes. So you put this over your whole face, like so. Okay. And then you pull it up. And then you just maneuver it around. You have a nice tight fit around your nose, around your face here. Okay. And it's even tight down here. This part, it's tight around your chin, so you're not getting any air or anything there. If you want to put something here, if you want to sew a little divot in there to close it off, you can do that. This is your mask. You can do whatever you want with it. I know there's a lot of thoughts on how to do things, and that's fine. You need to find whatever works best for you, okay? So there's that. So I have a couple of patterns here that I like to use. The one that I use for a big one, if you know somebody who has maybe a wider face or a larger head, I would recommend 10 by 8. Okay. If you're going to do it for yourself or a medium-sized face, 9 by 7. This seems to be the standard size. Or if you want to go smaller, you can do 8.5 by 6.5. I will have these on my website, craftyauthor.com. Also, for the elastic. So for me, and I have kind of a smaller head, I would say more standard, would be 11.5 inches for the top for the elastic and 9.5 inches for the bottom. I measured my husband. I made him a mask. His was 12 inches by 10 inches. So 12 inches up top, 10 inches for the bottom. And then my son's was 12 inches for the top and 9 inches for the bottom. He's got a very, very thin face. So you'll have to kind of play with it, okay? But those are just kind of some standard sizes that I use. So we're going to just jump right into this right now. Okay, so I have already pressed these fabrics. So this one is just a fabric that I had in my stash that I just folded in half, wrong sides together, and pressed it. That's going to be my interior lining. So I'm using 3 layers of fabric. This is going to be my main fabric piece. So I'm just going to lay this right here on top. And then I am going to put my 9x7 template on top of all 3 of them. So we're going to cut through 3 layers of fabric here. Now I want to make sure I get that monkey in there because I love that little monkey. All right, so line my ruler up along where I have my my template. And I'm using a rotating mat, which is kind of a lifesaver. So I'm going to try and get this a little closer so you can see it. So I just go to the edge of that template there. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to go ahead and do that again. Okay. And one, oops. And if you move it, just kind of move it back. Don't get worried about it. It'll be okay. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and cut that. So we're good there. All right. Got fabric all over my dress. Okay, so now we have our 3 pieces together. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a ruler that I have here, and I am just going to measure from this top part of the fabric up at the top. I'm going to measure in a 1/2 inch, and I'm using a Sharpie, and it's not going to matter. And then you're going to do the same thing down here at the bottom. You're going to put your straightest line here, and you're just going to measure up a 1/2 inch. And you're just going to mark it. You just want to be able to make sure you can see it, okay? Now you're going to do the same thing to this side. Now the reason that we're doing this is so that we know the placement of where we're going to put the elastic. So we do that there, okay? And then I am going to cut some elastic. And I have, I don't know what size this is, 1/2 inch. This is 1/2 inch elastic. You can also do this with, no, you need to do this one with elastic. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so 11.5 inches is how much I'm going to have on my top. And I'm just going to cut it. I'm not going to get real crazy about it. This is going to be my top part. So the largest piece of elastic goes up top, and the smaller one goes on the bottom. So this one is 9.5 inches. So we're just going to give that one a little snip. It's probably a little too big. That one goes there. All right. So now we have our elastic cut, and now we're ready to go to the sewing machine and sew this all together. Okay, so in order to make this easy for myself, I am going to take my long piece of elastic, and I am going to just put a little clip here and clip all the layers together with it. And then I'm also going to take the smaller one, the shorter piece, and put it on that mark where we had marked it before. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. And I just find this easier because then you're not fighting with this as you go along. Okay, so you can clip everything together if you'd like, or you can do it like I'm doing it here. I prefer this method. It just makes it easier for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch that down, and then I'm going to back stitch. And then I am going to also do that right here. This method also works great if you're doing behind the ears elastic as well. It just helps to hold it in place, and then you're not messing with clips and all kinds of stuff, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stitch this one down the other side now. So our elastic is almost completely attached. Plus, I also think this reinforces it better because you're going over it a couple of times. Just trim off the threads. And then we have something that looks like this. Okay, so now I'm going to put our larger piece up top. Now, it is important to remember that if you're using fabric that is directional, kind of like I am, you do want to make sure that you have your, that you're going to put it face up towards the larger one. Otherwise, it'll be backwards. It'll be upside down. So, face up, then you put it face down to your fabric. So these two pieces, you should have right sides facing each other. But the side that has the longest elastic is your top. Okay? Then I'm going to start on a side. I just kind of even that out. I'm going to start on the side and I'm going to start stitching. And then I'm going to back stitch, and I'm going to back stitch. And the reason I'm back stitching that many times there is because I will be turning this inside out. And now I'm going to continue to stitch. And I had that clip was holding my elastic out of the way so that I could make it a little easier for myself to sew this down. You don't have to do that. I just did it because it helps me. Okay, now I'm gonna stitch along there again. I'm gonna make sure I'm lined up, which I am. I'm gonna back stitch that because I just want to hold all that elastic in place. And you don't want to sew, you want to make sure your elastic is kind of out of the way because you do not want to sew through your elastic. I've done that. It's really not awesome. It's pretty much a pain in the butt. So just make sure you're pulling it out of the way as you're sewing it along, okay? Just a friendly little tip there. I did that when I was sewing stuff real quick, when I was making all those masks, and I had to stop and seam rip, and yeah, that was not fun. Okay, so now we're at the end here. And you can always, oops, I didn't cut that. There it is. I'm going to use a chopstick, my trusty chopstick, to help me turn this out, because I just didn't leave myself enough room to really turn it out. So you want to leave yourself a good 2 or 3 inches. But anyway, it's still going to come out just fine. Okay, so you just turn it inside out, and you can see your elastic is there. Okay, and yeah, this turned out really awesome. So I'm just going to go in through that little hole, the that I created that's already kind of sealing itself up. And I'm just going to take my chopstick and I'm just going to poke out those corners. Now be careful when you do this, because I actually poked all the way through one the other day. So don't get carried away and just start poking, because it could be a real problem. You'll poke a hole and then you'll have to go sew up your hole. Okay, so let's see. And then there's that. All right, so now all I'm going to do, because now we've got everything sewn on, right? Looks amazing. That's what your back looks like. Okay, I am just going to go ahead and finger press that, and I'm going to finger press this seam as well, and this is going to help this lay flatter. All right, and that's my opening. So my opening is already closing itself up, and then I'm going to press that there like so, and then press it down. This helps it so that when you go to top stitch around, it will lay nice and flat and it'll look really nice. All right, so we are ready to press and do some pleats here. So I'm just going to take my iron and I'm just going to press it. Now I'm going to tell you what I like to do first, okay? And this is just a personal preference. You don't have to do it this way. But what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to go back over to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch this down first. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to sew very close to the edge and then I will be right back. You can see where I stitched that closed, right on that edge. Okay, so now that's completely closed up and I don't have to worry about it. Now, I do that because of the pleat situation. I just don't want, I don't want to have to mess with anything else closing up when I'm pleating. And I find if you close this up before that, then it's one less thing to worry about. You can leave it open and you can seal it when you're doing the pleats. There is that, but you have to be really good and get really close to that edge, okay? So I pop, as you can see, I like to pop my elastic up, and I do that just so that when I'm ironing, it just makes it a little easier. So what you're going to do is you are going to pinch, you're going to pinch and come down, okay? Pinch and come down. And I am going to make sure that I'm nice and even here. Looks like it. And then I'm going to press it with the iron. Do not burn yourself, because it's really easy to do. All right, so that one is done. And then I'm going to grab another one right underneath, probably about right directly underneath. If you can see where my finger is right here, that is, I'm going to go right underneath this fold here, just right underneath it. And I'm going to pinch and fold down. Okay. And that is how you make the pleats. You'll get it after doing it a couple of times. It takes a little bit of working with it, okay? I've been doing this a lot, so. And I think I still did mine crooked. Maybe. Nope. Mine's good. So if you need to, you can clip them. All right. We are ready to top stitch. So again, like I said, I would probably just clip these like right here just to hold it. So it's holding that end, and then I'll do it on this one as well. Just for demonstration purposes, but you don't, once you iron it, you really don't need to. But you can see now it's holding them. Okay? So now we're going to top stitch. Now this is a tricky part, kind of. You want to fold these back down, okay? Because otherwise it'll wrap around your machine, which I have done and it's fine, but It's just kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. Take your thread that you have. I'm using black thread. And I'm going to needle up and I'm going to needle down, and I'm going to pull my bobbin thread up through the bottom. And then I have both of my tails, as you can see, okay? Have both of them here, and I'm going to tuck them underneath my foot and pull them back. Now, the reason I do this is because I do not want nesting happening on the back side of my fabric. So that just keeps it nice and neat. And now I'm just going to back stitch a little bit. I'm sewing 1/4 inch. I'm using my 1/4 inch foot along the edge of my mask, and I'm just going to go all the way around like that. My little foot has a notch on it that tells me when I'm at the edge, and it's a 1/4 inch. So I'm using that as a guide as well. Start slowly on those edges because they are thick. Now, if you need a walking foot, you can always use a walking foot for the pleats. The fabric is very thick on the pleats. So I know that can be tricky. Now pull the elastic out of the way a little bit so that you can stitch it down flat. I want to show you from this angle. Make sure you can see it. This is what I'm talking about, pulling the elastic a little bit out of the way so that you can come kind of directly on it. And then you're going to turn it. Okay. And you're just going to continue stitching, and then you don't have to worry about the elastic anymore here. Take those pleats very slowly. Like I said, lots of thick fabric. I'm working with a 90-14 needle. I only use that kind of needle because I only use purple needles in my Janome machine. And it's a 90-14. So feel free to use whatever size you would need to use. And now I'm done. All right, my friends. That's what our mask looks like. We're going to try it out live on camera so that you can see it. Bring it up. And we're going to bring it down. And voila. Got your mask. You can pull it up higher if you want to. It's nice tight fitting here. It's tight under here because underneath here it's tight. So I know that this part looks like it's not, but it actually is. But if you really feel like you need to tighten it, then you can. It's up to you. But this is what it looks like. So, and then it fogs up your glasses still. Like I said, nothing prevents that. So that's just part of life, I guess. Anyway, so that is how you make one of those masks. Pretty easy, right? It was really, really easy. And if you have everything cut and ready to go, you can have this done in like, I don't know, 5 minutes. Super simple. And you can make different sizes of them. So, and they will stay on. And actually, they are really, really comfortable above your ears. So, if you're working with the thicker, it's much nicer on your ears than hooking it. So, just another way to make another mask. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me today on the Crafty Author. If you'd like to follow me, the links are down below in the description box. Don't forget to give this video a like. And you can share it because sharing is caring. And if you subscribe and click that little bell, you'll get notified each and every time that I upload a new video. And keep on crafting. I'll see you guys next time.